So today's session is all about the spine, and we are going to move the spine in all directions. So we don't need any equipment. I highly recommend a wall or a door or a cupboard or something to stand against if you have got access to one. And this is a little routine that Paul and I do in the mornings, and we've named it the morning routine. But you can really do it any time of the day, and yeah, like I said, you don't need anything else. So we're going to start with the feet hip width apart. So as we work through these different movements, I really want you to focus on keeping your pelvis completely still. So if you think of the two hip bones at the front of the pelvis, and imagine, oh, hiccup, they've got little lights on. Those lights want to be pointing forward, not down and not up, and they don't want to be moving with the spine. When we start to do those movements, we want the spine to move on its own. Okay, so feet are hip width apart. We're going to start with side bends, which is a lateral flexion of the spine. So we'll start with the left side. So just allow, if you're against it, so you can prop yourself up against a wall or a door, head is back, and you're just going to allow the left hand to float down towards the left knee. Now what you're trying to avoid is rocking out with the hip, because then it becomes a hip and spine movement, and we just want to work the spine. So imagine you've got two bathroom scales under your feet, and they want to stay weighing the same the whole time. So we don't want to come off of one foot, and we don't want to put too much weight into the other one. And then bring yourself up and go towards, oh, did you see that? I was tilting, and then take it over to the other side. So pull the shoulders back. And you'll find that if your pelvis is completely still, your range of motion is actually quite small. So if you're kind of doing this thing, then you know there's a lot of stuff in the hips going. And it's not a wrong exercise, not a wrong movement, it's a different movement and not what we're focusing on today. So growing up and then send it down to the other side. Now what you might notice is if you have like tight back over there or a tight hip or shoulder or neck, when you go to one side, you might end up doing something like that, so leaning forward. You might even tilt back a little bit. So that's what I want to do against a wall. So if you think of the back of the head, the shoulders against a wall, as you're sliding down, that opposite shoulder doesn't want to move away from the wall. And often when you find, and you put it back there, it's like, oh yeah, now I have to come out of that a little bit, and then come back up. Pay attention to which side is your more tighter side. Which side feels more challenging, and also if it feels more challenging, is the technique the same as the easy one? Because sometimes you go, oh, that's harder, but the technique is not the same. So keeping the hips, if I had little lights on my hips, they would stay in exactly the same place. And also this is going to make your obliques and your abdominals work harder. And then bring yourself back up again. So now we're going to do rotations. So you can just have the hands across the shoulders or the chest. You just don't want the shoulders to shrug up, so I'm actually going to turn to the side for this one. So we want to grow nice and tall. So lengthen your spine, and we're going to start to rotate. Doesn't matter what side. I'm going to come to the right because the camera's there. And I'm going to turn the belly button around towards the right side. Now what you're trying to avoid is the hip turning as well. So I can feel that on the knee. So if you feel any discomfort in your knee, that's going to be a clue that your hip is turning. So as you turn, one thing we can do to try and stop that, A, be aware of it, but actually send your right hip a little bit forward and then try and turn your spine. Come back to the center, and then we go to the other side. So turning to the left, and then just nudge that left hip a little bit forward. Now your face can be there, or you can gaze over the rear shoulder, depends on your neck. Come back to center, and then we're just going to carry on. So take it to the right, nudge the right hip slightly forward, breathe in. Can you grow taller? As you exhale, give your spine a hug. Can you go a little further? Come back to the center. Inhale, rotate to your left. Hold it there, nudge that left hip slightly forward. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, give that tummy a squeeze. Can you go a little deeper? And we'll just do one more on each side. So once you get to know this little routine, you can get through this in 5 minutes every morning. But it's just a great way of keeping your spine moving. Joseph Pilates was a big believer that you are only as old as your spine. So for him, Pilates isn't really taught much the way he wanted it. Nowadays it's taught more about the core and everything, but he was all about the spine. Once you come back to center, release down. So that was rotation and lateral flexion. Now we're going to do flexion. So I'm going to turn to the side again for you. Keeping the knees under your hips. Now just soften your knees. So some people tend to lock out the joint. We want muscles to work, so just keep those knees slightly bent. Have a shoulder roll. Bring those shoulders into your back pockets and then lengthen your ears away from the shoulders. Hug the tummy in. Take a deep breath. Reverse your chin first, as though we're trying to take the curve out of the neck, and then take your chin down above your collarbone. So just giving yourself a little bit of a stretch in this upper neck back area. At the same time, really pull those shoulder blades away. Hug the tummy in. Start to fold your forehead to your belly button. So imagine that's where you're trying to send it. So really pull in the tummy and keep your knees really soft with this. So we don't want to lock out the joint. Now, if you suffer with sciatica, you might get to a point where it increases the pain. You don't want to go any further than that. And if that pain doesn't reduce a little bit, then come out of it. Okay, so if you suffer with sciatica. And then for the rest of us, keep hugging the tummy in. So think of the tummy helping the spine. Just let your head dangle. Your arms dangle, your neck dangle. Oh, that's so nice there. And you can go down as far as you want. So some people can go to the floor, some people might be up there, but make sure you haven't locked out your knees. Your knees are soft. Once you got to wherever you're going to go, just pay attention to the weight in your feet. If you can lift your toes, the weight is going too far in your heels and you're going to be hinging back. You can see where my hips are. So bring the weight a little bit more into the ball of the foot and the arch, and the hips come a little bit more above the ankles. Just let your neck hang and your shoulders. Take a breath in at the bottom, and as you breathe out, hug your tummy in and think of your abdominals pushing your spine up. Keep the neck relaxed, the shoulders relaxed. If you need to breathe again, stop, inhale, and then exhale. Keep those knees soft. You'll find that these back muscles are working to help lift you. Once you come up, grow nice and tall, and have that lovely shoulder roll. So we'll do a couple more. Breathe in, knees soft, chin to throat, and then roll down. Hug the tummy in. When we exhale, that's when the core naturally pulls in. When the core pulls in, it supports the back, supports the body. Keeping the knees soft makes all these muscles around your knees work. It makes the back of your legs work. It makes the bums work. Once you get to the bottom, can you go a little further? Remember, if you've got sciatica, you don't want pain. Make sure your weight is not sinking into the heels, and then just relax your head, let it hang. Just decompressing the neck. Really nice for the neck bones. Breath in at the bottom. As you exhale, hug the tummy in. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Keep your chin tucked in. As you come up, drawing in the tummy, grow nice and tall. And have a shoulder roll. Good. So we're going to do one more. Inhale. Chin to chest. Keeping those knees soft again. So especially if you're quite flexible in the back of the legs, you might really want to straighten them because you might find it more comfortable. Perhaps you've got hypermobile knees, and sitting in the joint is easier than actually using the muscles. So just be mindful of your knee joints. Relax your neck and your shoulders. Inhale. As you exhale, keep those knees soft. As you breathe out, hug the tummy in. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. All the way to the top. And once you come up, lengthen. And have that shoulder roll. Lush. So last spine movement, which is also the most important of them all. So if you think of an aging person, they tend to come into that kind of shape. So extension is the movement we lose the most of as we get older. So it is the most important one. And if you do a long distance drive, what do you want to do when you get out the car? You're normally like, oh, I just need to stretch off, which is exactly the movement we're going to do. So again, keep your feet hip width apart. You can also have the feet a little wider if you want to. Your hands can either be in that position, or that position. Everyone's wrist and arm bones are different lengths, so just any way that you can get in there comfortably. From here, you're going to have a shoulder roll, so lift your shoulders up, squeeze it to the wall behind you, drop them down, and then try and hug your elbows closer together. So where's my elbow? You're bringing your elbows together at the back, okay? Give your bum a little squeeze. Now from here, we're not just going to whack the hips forward, because if you do that, you hinge in the lumbar spine, and that's not very nice. It doesn't feel great. So what I want you to do is squeeze your bum, send your hips a little bit more forward. And now from here, we're going to lift the heart, because most people need extension in the upper part of the spine. So from here, think of lifting your sternum up. And imagine there's a big ball you're trying to take your heart up and over. Your head can follow, or if your neck doesn't like it, just tuck the chin in. Take a breath in. And now, when you breathe out, pull the rib cage down and get your abdominals to help you back up into standing. Give your body a little shake. Hands onto the back, shoulder roll, hug your elbows inwards. Give your bums a squeeze that supports your back. Send the hips a little bit forward, but not too far forward. As you inhale, lift your heart. Shoulders are going down, elbows hugging in. So your gaze is going to travel up the wall. And maybe you can go a little bit further. Think of your heart lifting. And just, again, be mindful you're not hinging in the lower back. Chin can be tucked in. Breathe in. And then exhale, bring it in again. Good. And then give your body a little shake. There's a lot of body now. So that's it. From here, that's it. We have finished. We've done side bend. We've done rotation, forward flexion, and extension. So those are the four main exercise movements of the spine. Again, if you incorporate this as soon as you get out of bed, while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, you're just moving. Okay, at the end of the day, you can call them exercises, but they are movements. And if you can incorporate this into your daily life, it will make such a big difference on your health and your well-being and everything else. Everything is linked. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.